Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all, and welcome back. And yes, I am back in Florida. Um, so let's just start before we do our affirmation. Go back to Karen's book, Simple Light. And of course, you open it up and got the message that perfectly fits today's lesson. When we decide to become spiritual, we have to take from the past what is real and leave everything else behind. It's like taking a shower and putting on clean clothing. If a person is trying to get close to God, he has to allow himself to be cleansed before he can put on new spiritual clothing. So the next time you experience a challenge, stop for a moment and remind yourself that the universe is only trying to encourage you to take a shower. Take away the false beliefs, take away the spiritual mud, as we've called it in Real Today also, and take that shower. And so to start our shower today, let's do our affirmation together. We say it together, holding a new, fresh consciousness. As the Kabbalists say, every day is new. From our point of view, are we allowing the newness of the day, the new opportunities, the new light that's available to us, are we making use of that? And so let's start with this together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And so, if you read the post, God is the biggest problem that we have, especially when we're making an effort to become more spiritually oriented, especially Kabbalistically. And so I wanted to get into that for a moment, because I know, as much as it sounds controversial and almost contrary to what the universe, the world, life is about, let's understand it as we've just affirmed, and as the Zohar and all the great Kabbalists tell us. Consciousness is everything. So that as we shift our consciousness, we also shift the things that we do, and that changes our lives. And because we're all on a spiritual internet, meaning there's only one soul that's extended out, if you will, into 8.5 billion bodies, but we're one soul. So every change of consciousness to a higher level is impacting not only our life and all the people around us in our local environment, but we are literally awakening every human being's soul to a greater awareness of who they are, what they're supposed to do in this world, what we've committed to do in this world. And ultimately, that transformation and shift of consciousness is what will bring the final redemption, peace on earth, heaven on earth, whatever name you want to give it, but the end of all the chaos, pain, suffering, and death. And so let's just start with some fundamental awareness. God, obviously a central figure in religion, right? Because religion, if you think about it, the word religion is to re-legion, to reunite, or be united with this thing called God. The issue comes when you read the Bible, 5 books of Moses. If you read it literally, God is jealous, God is angry, God is happy, God withdraws from the world, God is judgmental, God is merciful, God will reward people if they're good, God will punish them if they're bad. These are giving a list of things that are called sins, and if a person sins too much, there's a hell that they're going to be relegated to after they leave this world. But if they do what God wants them to do, and isn't it interesting that religion, there's not one religion on earth. You've got all these different religions that somewhere along the line contradict each other. Well, if there's one God, there has to be one fundamental, universal rules, let's call it, meaning a system that we can use to religion ourselves. But the different religions, okay, so who do you believe? And then you've got the idea, oh, if a person looking for something, if they don't feel they've got everything in life that they want to have or think they're supposed to have, then pray to God. Pray to God, and if you pray properly, God will wake up and say, okay, I grant you your wish. But prayer has become a way of begging God, bribing God. God, I will do this, this, and this, and this if you'll do this and this and this for me. Or begging God, please, God, help me, help me, help me, help me. No, if you look at it that way, first and foremost, how could God be, even in the general concept of God, how could God be a loving God? How could God be, let's put it more directly, how could God be all-knowing if a person has to beg God for something that they want or need in life? Means maybe God doesn't see it, or maybe God doesn't want to give it to them. Or like we said, maybe first the person has to do something for God in order for God to do something for the person. These ideas, even if a person tries to stop believing in God because things look unfair or things don't look right or what have you, how could God let people suffer? How could God, if it's infinitely powerful, allow the pain, suffering, and death? Why isn't it coming here? So when some people see that, they say, oh, either they have resentment to God, either they hate God, or they'll say they don't believe there's a God. But, like you and I know, even a person says they don't believe in God, there's still a connection to these false concepts of God. Like the scientists say, energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. So if a person has allowed themselves through whatever religion, conversations they've overheard, what have you, if they've allowed themselves to take in the energy of these false beliefs about God, then it stays with them even if they think they're not believing, they're disconnected, they're denying, or they're ignoring, or what have you. It still stays stuck. And therefore, I truly believe there's not a human being on earth that doesn't have some disconnect, blockage to the true creator, as we'll discuss here in a second, doesn't have some resentment, anger, hurt, whatever, towards their concept of God. So now let's take in for a moment, what did the Kabbalists teach about God? So many of you have taken classes with us. You know that from Kabbalah 1 forward, first and foremost, we make an effort to keep away in the beginning when there's going to be a transformation. Now, if a person's holding for years and years and years and years the idea God, like we just said, rewards, punishes, merciful judgment, likes people, doesn't like people, etc., etc., or, is God the mean, nasty person up there who's looking for what people do bad? Or is God like the grandfatherly figure, kind of smiling on everybody? So if you use the word God in the beginning of this transformation that people want, going from their old, what they've come to realize can't be the true concepts, into spiritual concepts, especially Kabbalistic, which is the universal technology of the soul, which is why the center is open to everybody, because everybody has a soul. We may have different talents and abilities from the energy of the soul, but there's only one operating system to the soul, as we'll speak about. So we understand and we explain, as the Kabbalists do, that there is this infinite light force. Generally, that's what we could translate into the term God. This infinite light force. What is it? It is intelligent, it is conscious, but it's an infinite force of sharing. And what does it share? Light, only goodness, blessings, unconditional love, kindness. Like we say, greater love, kindness, and compassion. Like physical light takes away darkness and simultaneously allows illumination, clarity. So this is why the Kabbalists and we use this term light. Yes, we can't grasp it. It's enough for us in the human form to try and grasp infinite light. No less what emanates, if you will, the infinite light. So we're going to stick with that. Infinite light, only source of lasting fulfillment, shines 24/7, and there's no exclusiveness. I mean, think of the sun. When the sun shines, does it only shine on some people and not other people? No, it just shines 24/7. It just shines. So the light of the Creator also shines 24/7. That's why we use the term light, which we'll also speak about in a minute. Now, our soul being filled with this light, you and I decided to come to earth so we could imitate the Creator. We could act like the Creator. So everyone has a soul full of light. We came into this world to manifest it. Because if it's staying only in the soul, then it awakens a sense of 100% fulfillment, eternal good, peace, harmony, prosperity, health, all those good things. But it's not being manifest. Like any good idea a person has, but doesn't go out to make it manifest, they can imagine all day the world benefiting, they're benefiting, this and this, but nothing's going to be made manifest. They're not going to experience those blessings and that fruition, the manifestation of that great idea. So too with the light of the Creator. So we came here to imitate the Creator by using our free will, which, as we often speak about, means that there's an AI program, as we now speak about it, that we put in our head to oppose imitating the Creator. No, don't shine your light. Somebody doesn't deserve it. Why should you? This and that. Whatever the reasons are, that AI program tempts us not to. So we have the two voices. We have to choose. Which one are we going to listen to? Which one are we going to manifest? And then, of course, you have to keep in mind there is an absolute law of cause and effect that's based in each of us. My cause and effect is not based on your behavior. It's based on mine. Your cause and effect, what will go out from you will come back to you regardless of anyone else or what the circumstances are. What you and I do, what we put out into the cosmos, how we think, speak, and act will come back to us exactly. The issue is, in order to give us free will, it's not always going to be instant. Sometimes it'll take days. Sometimes it may be, like they say, instant karma. Sometimes days, weeks, months, years. That allows us free will. Because we're all expecting, if I do something good, I should see it right away. No, not necessarily. Like in the physical world, you plant an orange seed, it's around 3 years till the fruit comes off the tree that has to grow, flourish, and blossom with fruit. So it's not instant. It's not always instant. Now, the confusion that has come up, because like we said, you read the Bible and it says all these things. God has a hand and face and whatever, whatever. The Kabbalists call it the language of the branches. Meaning what? Because we first sense and understand the physical world more than the spiritual world, the language of the branches means they way the spiritual world, or in our topic today, the creator, the light force, is described, has to be in some way that we can relate to. So thousands of years back, okay, they say hands, feet, what looks like reward and punishment and this, but that's also, as the Kabbalists say, the 5 books of Moses is written in this code that we have to make the choice, either believe it literally, which as we've said brings a lot of chaos, or dig deeper. What's beyond the code? If we unlock the code, what is the technology of the soul that it's teaching us? So the language of the branches is how things have to be put in terms that we understand. Even traditionally, those of you who read your Bible, the 5 books of Moses or what have you, things are often described in parables. Think about it now. What is a parable? Language of the branches. So there'll be some lesson. Here's the way it works, but here's the parable. A king does this, whatever person does that. Even the idea of the light. Why using light to describe the energy of the creator? Language of the branches. There's not one person on earth that doesn't understand when you walk into a dark space and you turn on some form of light, some aspect of darkness will be instantaneously transformed into light. Meaning the infinite light that shines 24/7 spiritually and in essence physically will be uncovered by that radiance of light, whether it's a birthday candle, a tiny little pen light, huge flashlight, bonfire, whatever. Any form of light will allow the cover of darkness, which is an illusion, to be taken away, and that amount of light to shine through the cover. If you have curtains on your window and it's a bright sunny day and the sun is shining directly on the window, but the curtain is blocking it, even you put a tiny little pinhole in that curtain, light will pour through. Yes, maybe only a little bit of light. You make a bigger hole, more light. But was the light of the sun not there? Of course it was, but it was being blocked by the curtain. So you and I block the light of the Creator and all the blessings, health, peace, love, prosperity, protection, guidance, understanding, awakening. We hide that every time that we've done a reactive, unconscious action, opposing or opposite to the sharing of our light. So go back, because I want to remind you, the opponent wants us to think about instant gratification. Why do we scream, yell, fight, bite? Instant gratification. They're doing something I don't like. If I scream at them, or even worse, hit them, push them away, instant gratification. But again, cause and effect. Since that's the opposite of why we came here, it's going to come back. Anger, go out, comes back at the right time, in the right way, in the right place, for us to be able to repair, take away the curtain of anger, and reveal the light of kindness, love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, whatever it may be. It's ours. So now, a few ideas of what might be sticking in your head. The problem with God. Well, when you were younger, kids on the playground, they made fun of you. Why? Maybe you were bad at math. Maybe you weren't good in sports. Maybe you didn't look the way they look. Maybe you didn't speak the way they speak. And they mistreated you. And then, of course, with some of the things that we hear or we learn in our religious education, why God punishing me? Why is God letting me be in this situation? Why did God put these people around me? Bad parents, bad environment. Sometimes people grow up in that. Why? Why is God punishing them? Why is God doing this to them? How come God doesn't come and give them just a good family or good environment or bad relationships, even as they grow up, before you come to the center, before you have this merit to be in the Kabbalah center? It's unfair, unjust. I tried to treat them so nicely, and they lied, cheated, whatever it was, took advantage. All the various ways that we hold false ideas. And as we said, even science tells us energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. So a person took that in. Oh, and then there's the one. God wants people to suffer in this world. So when they leave this world, they'll go to heaven. They'll have a world of bliss and gold-lined streets and this, that, and the other thing. Those thoughts create, metaphorically, spiritual mud that covers a person's soul, which is filled with light, and like those curtains we talked about in the windows. The mud, as a curtain, blocks the light from emanating out, which is why we're here, to act like the Creator. The Creator doesn't stop. The light doesn't stop shining on anybody. The spiritual light is shining 100% of the time. Only goodness, only beneficence, all the good things we could ever imagine. It's you and I using free will or misusing free will that determine how the light will manifest. Yes, so if a person is acting with anger, they are using their soul's light in a mold that they created called anger. So like clay or putty or plaster fills that mold and becomes anger and comes back to them as anger. But the reason it comes back over and over, what we call tikkun, the same repetitive things, is to give us a chance to now take the cover of anger, jealousy, ego, greed, insecurity. Take the cover away by emanating light from our soul of love, kindness, compassion, generosity, humility, appreciation, gratitude, etc. So then, as we said, we come to the center and we learn from Kabbalah 1 forward. 1, the light is only good and it shines 24/7. So there can be no bad in the world. What looks bad is not a creation from the Creator. It's the misuse individually or collectively of the light in our soul and the being taunted by the AI program in our head to seek instant gratification instead of pausing and say, what do I want to come back to me in the right time, in the right way, whether it's instantly, a day, a week, months, years. But I know there's a perfect system, universal laws of cause and effect. And not everything. I mean, if a person has a $10,000 credit card debt and they're paying it $1,000 a month, simple terms, it's going to take them 10 months. They can't say, well, here, I paid the $1,000. How come it's all not gone? Because their debt is $10,000. So you and I have no idea how big our debt is. This is why we learn the absolute, eternal, immutable, spiritual laws of the universe from the Zohar. That is not Jewish mysticism. It is not belong to any exclusive group. It belongs to humanity, because it's the laws of our soul, which, as we often remind ourselves here, is the only thing in common to every person on earth. Black, white, yellow, brown, we still have a soul, comes from one creator. Whatever name you call your creator, still only one system. Yes, the AI program has taunted us to believe different things, but when you learn Kabbalah from the center, from Kabbalah 1 forward, it's easier then to see through the way religion has been taught, to see through it. What did Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha really mean through that? Like unlocking the code and seeing the reality, the truth, and that which is bringing and will bring complete and absolute unity, peace, and harmony without being the same. That's another false belief about God. So many religions out there. Do you think God wants everybody to be even of one religion? No. How can you tell that? Spiritual, physical. The spiritual manifests in the physical world. So what we see in this physical world, language of the branches, has to be some form within the spiritual world. So you look at a physical body. Is the physical body made only one organ? There's no heart, liver, kidney, gallbladder, bloodstream. It's all the same. No. To have a vital, healthy human being, you have to have all the different organs with different functions, but working in unity, oneness, to their 100% perfection. So the same thing. It's impossible. Take it out of your head that everybody has to be, quote, the same religion. No, what you and I are learning is, yes, we all want to be of the same awareness, consciousness of the universal system of the soul, that then we can go out and express it in our own unique way, vibration, and unified with the rest of the parts of the one soul, if you will, the one body of humanity. So when you look at the world and you see stuff going on out there that's not in alignment with love, kindness, compassion, generosity, humility, etc., our job is to heal it, not just keep cutting it away or trying to cut it away. Has it worked? Thousands of years of history trying to cut away all the bad pieces and get rid of all the bad actors. Has it stopped bad behavior? No, because you and I learned from the center, cause and effect. We came to express 100% of our light in order to have 100% light manifest. And sometimes that light has to show us where our blockages are, where we're still holding anger, fear, insecurity, jealous. God is punishing. The things we're talking about today, God's punishing. So even when people come to the center, you come to the center, the light is infinitely good and only good. Challenges are our opportunity to pay back the spiritual debt we owe from acting with anger or fear, insecurity or guilt or jealousy or violence even. Whatever it is, fix our past mistakes. You can't pray to God. If you're understanding the light only shines, it's only a sharer, there's no receiving. You can't pray to God. That means it has to receive. You can't beg or beseech. You don't look at your electrical socket and say, oh, please give me the electricity to make the vacuum cleaner work. You take the plug, you plug it into the electricity, you connect to it, and the electricity flows out because you've connected to it. What Kabbalists call prayer is a connection to the light. But if people don't have the consciousness that's a connection and how to make that connection, then of course light doesn't flow. And because the opponent made this whole false idea about God, why doesn't God give me? I'm praying the way they tell me to pray. And this is not praying to God. I'm begging God. I'm promising God I'll do all the things God wants me to do if God will then give me this. No. That's why there's so much pain and suffering even within the form of religion. Why this and why that and how come and punishing and this and this. So then even when people come to the center, they're still carrying that. Still carrying that. So we have the tools, Zohar, Anabakoach. We have teachers. We have people who will help each and every one of you who have a desire and want to take advantage of the wisdom, the tools, the support of the center. You can, but just don't look for instant gratification. Because we come to the center, we're still holding on to the blockages of the past, some of them unconsciously. I may have shared the story, but I'm going to tell you now because it's related. Tikkun healing. If you look on the Kabbalah website, we have under guidance services, past life meditations, dream interpretation, Tikkun healing, meditations with names of God, the 72 names, etc., etc. There's Tikkun healing mean repairing your past. Traditionally, in the language of religion, it's repentance. But you cannot sin towards God. How can you hurt the light? The light is only sharing. It shines 24/7. It's infinitely, metaphorically blissed out. Can't sin or hurt the light. No. Even the word sin in the original language means to transfer. Like we say, we're all given light. When a person acts opposite the light, the anger, the jealousy, guilt, greed, insecurity, whatever, then they are covering the light, spiritual mud. It doesn't shine out. They've transferred, so to speak, given the light over to the opponent, and mud or a shell or a curtain blocks the person's light. So they now have to go through something similar, right? Another challenge, another difficult situation that pushes their button of the anger, the guilt, the shame, whatever it may be, in order to pause and then shift gears from seeking instant gratification, trying to get not our purpose in this world, not our mission, but to share. Now, cause and effect, sharing more light out there, darkness dissipates, more light comes back. Yes, we may have more to go, more mud to take off, more curtains to take away. But when you're shining light out of you into the darkness, as in the language of the branches, right? If you have 10 rooms in your house and you turn on light in one, more light, but there's still 9 more rooms, 8 more rooms, 7 more rooms. You turn on more light, there's more light, more blessings, but there's still some to go. So when I got to the center, as I've shared with you, it was 10 years in different spiritual system. I was even teaching, whatever, but it led me to the center, as many of you have gone through different steps, pathways to get here to the center. And I'm feeling stuck, like something was holding me back. So I'm scanning, reading from the Zohar, awakening the light in my soul, and then closing my eyes and asking for my soul to show me what I need to see so that I can unblock myself. And it shows me this scenario that happened when I was almost 13. My grandmother died. It was my mother's stepmother, but the grandmother that I knew, my favorite grandmother. So I'm sitting in the living room. The rabbi, I grew up Reform, the rabbi comes over, and as the rabbi talking to my mom and dad, I look at the rabbi, I say, Rabbi, did my grandmother go to heaven? He says, well, we don't know heaven like this. He says, our job is to just do good in this world because we don't know why God does what God does. That was it. I see that. What I realized at that moment, that my 12-year-old self heard, took in the thought, God killed my grandmother. The rabbi didn't mean it, didn't say it, but what I realized when the rabbi said, well, we don't know why God does what God does, that's what my 12-year-old took in. So I had to go back, which is tikkun healing, true repentance. I had to go back to my 12-year-old self and transform that energy. Take away the mud, open the curtain, whichever way you want to understand it. But I had to go back and transform that 12-year-old me from the energy belief that God could do something bad, that God had killed my grandmother, into what I understand as the Zohar teaches, as we learn in the center, and I had been learning for the years up to that point in the center. Yes, only good. And I'd had many blessings, many miracles. Even up to that point, still felt stuck because there were still curtains. So people will carry even some of those ideas, the punishment, this, that, and other thing. How many of you who've taken classes, maybe even Kabbalah 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, and every now and then the deal didn't come through, something happens in the relationship, God is punishing, maybe it's even unconscious, but didn't scan enough Zohar, didn't do this, that, or the other thing, use the tool, whatever it was, it's still the same thing. Or just the old thought, God's punishing. And last week, during the week, I had the inspiration for this talk and even the title, God is the Problem, and all the various ways. This morning, I got this text from one of the students. Been around it a few years, but as I explained to them, realized the enlightenment, the brighter light that has come along through their effort to share uncomfortably. This particular student doing tithing, giving some charity, reading from the Zohar, on some of the 24 hours Zohar calls where we read. If you're not familiar with it, contact the center. We have people around the world that basically 24 hours a day are reading and sharing consciousness from the Zohar. Because we know, as we talk about here, Zohar just shines the infinite light of the Creator. So you enhance it by opening it up and just scanning the Aramaic, as we do with the 72 names meditation. Every Hebrew or Aramaic letter just shines the light of God. So we have 24/7 people reading in consciousness. You want to participate? Please contact the center. You want to be part of the Zohar project to spread more of the physical books? Faster the light goes out there, especially the Zohar, even pocket Zohars. So I get this text this morning, which, as I heard from my teachers and Michael Berg and the Rav and Karen, is a sign from the Creator. This is the right consciousness. This is the right topic for people, you, me, and the world today. So they write like this. I've been battling with a lot of things the past couple weeks. And it comes down to the fact that I have a limited belief around the Creator being a God that punishes us. I think it's my religious background, and they write their particular one. It doesn't matter, Jew, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. We all have this idea. Punish, rewards, whatever. The Creator has always taken care of me. I lead a beautiful life. I am infinitely blessed, and I want for nothing. I have also learned in Kabbalah that God is an infinite force of sharing who only wants to give me and have me be infinitely fulfilled. But the minute I am faced with the prospect of not having a job, I think that the Creator won't provide me with a better job right away. I start fearing poverty and scarcity and thinking the worst. So I concluded that I have a limiting belief that I have to suffer to be happy. That's how God works. Therefore, I believe that God withdraws blessings from me and He deals in punishment and meanness. I can't truly surrender to a God I don't trust, and therein lies the problem. My question is, how do I know the Creator really is a force just of giving? How apropos, yes, to today. And so I explained, because they were saying, yes, intellectually, I understand. The light, infinite, etc. Light takes away darkness. And like they're saying, like I shared with you, that we all have, you've had blessings in your life. You've seen the miracles. having the Zohar, protection, scanning, sharing, giving tithing, and then see abundance and sustenance and blessings and miracles come along. We've all had that. But like we said, with the curtains or the mud, there's still more to be taken away. So I told them the first thing, realize that it's their spiritual growth and shining brighter light that's allowed the conscious awareness of this blockage. And then they're saying, but how do I have certainty in my heart that it is only infinite light and it is only good, etc.? I said, well, you can't try to move forward this way, but go back. Like I went back to my 12-year-old self. Go back to various times kids made fun of you at school, like we said, or whatever it was, where you took on the belief, or you heard in your religious training, or you heard people talking about how God is punishing and God is this, and where was God in all the trouble in the world? How could God let children suffer, people suffer, this, that, and another thing? Even if it's just a conversation that a person overhears, they've taken it in and it's become a certain aspect of a belief. So first and foremost, go back to that version of you that has that limiting belief, that accepted that idea. God punishes, God rewards. God likes people, God doesn't like people. God wants people to suffer in this world so there'll be blessings in the other world or whatever. Whatever it is, or even worse, people who don't believe in God, people who hate God, people who don't want to be religious but spiritual. Great. That just means they're still carrying some of their religious false ideas into the spiritual realm. So yes, like we're learning, as you turn on brighter light, it'll keep showing you where your blockages are, what they are, etc., etc. So there's only one way to transform it. How do you remove darkness? Light. Is there anything else in the physical world will remove darkness? Nothing. So why do we think spiritually, oh, if I take Kabbalah 20, darkness will go away? No, you can learn Kabbalah from that forever, only learn it in the intellect. No making use of it, no using it to shine light into the darkness, no uncomfortable transformational sharing of that light, shining the light of kindness, love, compassion, acting with generosity, humility, gratitude, happy for that person's good that you were just jealous of a minute ago. If you don't add the greater revelation or emanation of light out of your heart and soul, then the same amount of light and darkness will stay with you. Therefore, life has to continue. But understand cause and effect. Like a deal. If a person just goes to the store, charges $10, and tomorrow charges $10, and tomorrow said, the debt's getting bigger and bigger. So don't expect at the end of the month when there's a $3,000 bill, oh my God, but I only charged $10. Yeah, but $10 every day. So if you had paid it off every day, you wouldn't have a bill at the end of the month. So to speak, metaphorically, allegorically, if you paid $10 cash each day, even though you spent the $3,000, you'd have no credit card bill. But if you're only charging, meaning reactive behavior, anger, jealousy, greed, insecurity, fear, lack, guilt, shame, etc., judgment, insensitivity, creating a spiritual debt, has to be uncomfortable transformational sharing. Live Kabbalah. Let the light shine out of you every moment of every day. Aspire to that. Because like attracts like. Affinity of form or similarity of form, it's called Kabbalistically. The more we act like the light, the stronger our connection to the light. So you want to transform? Only one way. Why is it the Kabbalists say you want peace on earth with mercy, meaning speed up the process voluntarily to go back and transform the false beliefs, the bad behaviors, the mud creating or curtain creating reactive giving in unconsciously to the situation over and over? The Zohar will accelerate the process because it reaches into the depth of our soul and our consciousness. And as somebody said yesterday in a gathering that I had, who've been in the center for a while, but it came out this way. And they say to me, when it came out of my mouth, oh, now I get it. Now I get it even stronger. the spread of the Zohar. Remember, we have two voices in our head. The false voice of the AI program that's saying get, which is the opposite of our mission, and the voice of our soul saying, no, share, shine light into the darkness. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but the moment of discomfort, cause and effect, will bring you greater blessings in the long run. The power of the Zohar, why you should carry it with you, help us spread it all around the world, give it out to your family and friends, whatever. It turns up the volume of the voice of your soul and turns down the volume of the opponent. So imagine people that you know who've done not nice things to you. Imagine, first think, why did they do it? Because the voice of their opponent was louder than the voice of their soul. Spread Zohar, shine light, as we're about to do with our meditation. Shine more light, the voice of their opponent goes down, the voice of their soul goes louder, and the soul is only love, kindness, forgiveness, tolerance, generosity, humility, etc. When the voice of the soul reaches 50.5%, the person will begin transformation, because they'll come to feel internally, have a true consciousness of the heart. The light wants them to have good. The light is only good. The light is the only thing that will take away their sense of pain and suffering. It's not the other person. It's their own behavior. Cause and effect. Turn up the voice of the soul in every human being. Decide. You've suffered enough. Commit yourself to transform your false beliefs into certainty in the light, the system of the light, the technology of the light, the infinite goodness of the light, the fact that the light is shining 24/7, unconditional love. Our similarity of form means to shine light unconditionally on every human being on earth. And again, doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. You certainly don't have to agree with their bad behavior, but for your sake, shine more light, better for you, making the voice of your soul louder in your head and the voice of your opponent less, and the same thing for those people. When the Bible says, love God with all your heart, soul, and might, what does it mean? Shine the light 24/7, unconditionally, so your world becomes constant blessings, so your world becomes more peaceful and harmonious and creating greater serenity even through the next challenges. That humanity becomes more awakened to this truth that the light is infinite, the light fills their soul, they've already been given everything, just shine light to remove the mud and the curtains. And then the world will transform from chaos, pain, and suffering and death into a world of love, peace, unity, heaven on earth. God bless. So, yes, I put the, those of you whose heart is open and encouraging you, help us speed up the process, support the spread of the Zohar. I've put the link there to give. Even if it's appreciation for what you just learned, appreciation for what you learn on Spiritual Sunday, help us expand, help us spread more light. Share as opposed to just receiving. Yes, I put it out there unconditionally because I know it will reach the heart and soul of more and more people. Each of us who is a greater conduit of sharing, and especially Zohar and Kabbalah as we teach it in the center, you become a beneficiary of greater light flowing through you. So gratitude, appreciation, paying it forward, as they say, or if you know the term, the bread of shame, meaning greater affinity. Receiving is not the way the Creator operates. Sharing is. Our job is to imitate the Creator. So whatever you can, give with your heart, give with love, that it reaches 8.5 billion hearts and souls, the voice of their soul louder, the voice of their opponent less. Imagine if 3 billion people on the planet even gave $1.235, spreading enough Zohar, end of all pain, suffering, and death, for all of us forever. Okay, let's do our meditation. Hey Resh Yud, those of you unfamiliar, every Hebrew or Aramaic letter is not created by people. They are primordial forms. The light of the Creator entered into this world, if you want to call them spiritual photons. They are just conduits of the light of the Creator. So this combination, which is one of the 72 names of God, Hey Resh Het, Hey Resh Het, umbilical cord, meaning connecting us back to our source, the infinite light of the Creator and the endless world. So just allow the shapes to be engraved in your eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul. That light is being awakened inside you. Sit comfortably in your seat, hands in your lap, feet on the floor. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, exhale through the mouth. Air, the breath of life as we call it, because it's filled with the light of the Creator. So breathing in the light of the Creator through the vehicle of air. Hold the breath, let it fill head to toe, awakening the light in every cell, spiritually and physically, of your body. Exhale through the mouth, allowing the tension, the blockages to be released, that you can settle more consciously into the light of the Creator. Greater awareness of the infinite light all around you, filling you, unconditional love, guidance, strength. The power to imitate the Creator 24/7. Shine your light unconditionally. So we meditate and vision as you go back to your normal breathing. The name of God, Hey Resh Het. Hey Resh Het. See those energy forces above your head. They are connected to the endless world. They channel infinite light. This particular frequency to strengthen our connection to our source, the emanator of light in the endless world. Hey Resh Het. Let that name enter into the top of your head. In your mind, enhancing the voice of your soul, decreasing the voice and the influence of the opponent. And as you let this name, this energy force, travel through the rest of your body, doing the same in every cell, spiritual and physical cell of your being, turning up the perfection that is the light of the Creator, and turning down the voice of the opponent, whatever darkness, stress, negativity, false beliefs that you've held, beginning the transformation, awakening and strengthening your connection to your pure and perfect light beingness. Hey Resh Het. Become greater, more aware of the awakening of light, the influence of the light in your heart, soul, and mind. Ask for crave and listen for the voice of your soul and its guidance, strength, and clarity, where you need to shine more of your light. What are some of the blockages, false beliefs about God that you need to transform? Hey, RESH, CHET. Feel yourself immersed in this energy, removing the mud, the curtains, the blockages. Give you guidance, strength, clarity, one with greater certainty in the pure, unconditional love, sharing infinitely the only source of lasting fulfillment, the light of the Creator, shining it on you, existing all around you and within you. It's infinite. The only reason for a sense of lack is the mud, the curtains that hide the soul. So we take now in unity together the action. Envision a beam of this light, Hey, RESH, CHET, going out of your heart and soul into the hearts and souls of all your family and friends, awakening and strengthening their connection to the pure and perfect light being that is truly them, and out through their heart and soul to the heart and soul unconditionally to every person on earth, awakening the light in their heart, soul, and mind, increasing the volume of the voice of their soul, decreasing the voice of their opponent, that every person on earth is having a greater awareness, a greater sense of the disadvantage of their negative behavior, the trouble that they've created for themselves by that negative behavior, and the greater awareness that all their good, all their blessings, the light, infinite light of the Creator, that is their source of true, eternal fulfillment, happiness, blessings, is already inside them, waiting for them to emanate it out into the world 24/7, unconditionally. Becoming more and more glued to the Creator, affinity of form with the Creator, and more blessed, more and more desire to be on that path of the light, sharing 24/7, allowing and knowing that the light, as they increase the revelation, the manifestation, the emanation of their light, the more blessed they are, and the greater sphere of light protecting them from chaos, pain, suffering. And together we see that expansion of the sphere of light until we can see in our mind's eye, emanating from every person on earth, And the world is surrounded, immersed in this manifestation of pure light, love, peace, unity. And seeing the world, peace and harmony, love, kindness, compassion, being manifest towards all human beings. Remembering what your soul has inspired you and guided you, advised you to do, knowing you have the strength to do it, and having this vision of peace and harmony. We anchor it into our heart and soul, and together we take one more deep breath to commit ourselves to this path of light, and slowly exhale and open your eyes. Thank you for joining us. Please, you can write me on Facebook, direct message me, whatever it is, your questions, and also as the student that I read from you, your miracles, your blessings, your experiences using this wisdom and the tools, the Zohar, 72 names, etc. Look forward to that. God bless. Have an amazing day, evening, and a week.